Hi, and welcome to Big Sound Small Town. I'm your host, Sandy Carlton, and this is a podcast about the lives and stories of the musicians, writers, artists, and their associates that have their roots in the small towns and communities across America. If you like what you hear, tell somebody. Enjoy.
Hi, my name's SIlas Hamilton. I might be the youngest steel player you've ever met or seen, but I'm originally from Albemarle, North Carolina, and I moved here to Shelby late 2013, and I'm really glad I did because it kind of really got me hard into music here, but
Were you playing music before you got here?
I guess you could call it that. I had an old ukulele that ever since I think my mom got it when I was 2.
Right.
I would go around the house, and to me, tuning it was making all the pegs line up.
Oh, yeah,
And
got you.
I broke that thing, I don't know, pretty early on, but she had a guitar around the house that I would pull the peg so hard I ripped the bridge out of it.
Oh, Lord.
But ever since I was 2, 3, music has just engulfed me because I would sit at the CD player and listen to Elvis all day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And so Elvis was your first music influence, I guess.
Yeah, because I heard that hard driving sound.
Yeah.
It was great.
I mean, Elvis could sing. Elvis was the bomb all the way around. I mean, you know. So when you moved here, you got more serious about it.
Yeah, because
early on, beside Elvis, did you listen to other stuff too?
Doc Watson.
Doc Watson, that's cool.
He pulled me right in because that flat picking.
Yeah, that flat picking's good stuff.
Yeah, something about the things with speed.
Things with speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that here earlier today.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's just talk since we're here. We'll just take me through becoming a pedal steel player. I mean, how old are you now?
I'm 16.
Yeah. And all right, all my listeners, how many 16-year-old pedal steel players? Wait. How many 16-year-olds know what a pedal steel is, much less play one?
Yeah.
And he don't just play it; he plays the hound out of that thing. So, how did that come about?
So, like I mentioned earlier, there was this country compilation CD. I think it was called Top 20 Country Hits or something, and it had a bunch of George Jones and stuff. And I would listen to the same 6 songs that were very steel heavy. And I like the melodies, of course, but that...
You're just drawn to that?
Even when I was young, 5, I was like, that's not a guitar. That's
Right.
something different.
Something different, yeah.
And I guess, because I think back and realize these things later, but I wouldn't hold a guitar like a guitar. I'd set it on the table flat.
Oh, like a dobro.
And that was I just did it. And when I moved here, I decided I actually wanted to play guitar. So we went to the Shelby Music Center.
Yeah.
And John hooked me up with Tony.
Yeah.
And back then I was super into like AC/DC, Van Halen.
Yeah.
And I still love that
Yeah,
stuff.
man, that's great stuff. There's no shame in that, man. You know.
Yeah, but I think my first guitar was it wasn't quite a full size. It was like a step down Ibanez.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nice. It had like 3 humbuckers. It was cool. Yeah. And Tony got me playing all the like Summer of '69, Bryan Adams.
Right.
And more and more I did that, and then I bought a Squire Strat.
Yeah.
And then we kept doing that, and eventually Tony was like, I don't have any more to show you.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you've learned everything I know, right?
Yeah. So,
okay, I got to find you a different teacher.
Yeah. And then I went to Justin Harper.
Yeah, I know Justin well.
Yeah, and he really. Then I kind of went in the correct musical evolution to country, kind of in history. Cause when I started playing with him, I started getting into like rockabilly,
right?
Like Eddie Cochran and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's cool stuff.
And he taught me the thumb picking.
Yeah.
And there was one lesson he had that he taught me some EA, like 145 thing.
Right.
And I went home, and that just sparked something.
Right.
And slowly, it just started leaning more and more to country music. And then there was one night that I decided that whatever steel guitar was, that I was going to play it. Because I was in the Dairy Queen drive-through line with my dad, and I was like, this was 11, and we turned on the radio, and there was Johnny Paycheck's Close Up the Honky Tonk.
Yeah.
And Lloyd Green did the ride on that.
Right.
And I was locked.
Now, that became it right there.
Yeah, I told my dad, I was like, what is that? And he was like, I think that's a steel guitar. And I was, whatever that is, I'm going to play that.
That's what I'm going to do.
And ever since that night, that's just been my thing.
So did you go get one?
No, it was a long time.
Really?
I finally got
You
one.
just listened to them and heard them and picked them out of different songs?
Yeah, because after that, I would play guitar and started trying to emulate all the bends. And
sure,
stuff.
Yeah.
And eventually that got kind of stale. So
Well, it's limited, you know. I mean, I even use a B-bender, and it's limited to the pedal steel sounds you can get.
Yeah, and I asked Stan Anthony.
Yeah.
He had a little, I forget the brand. I think it was like a Marlin or something. Little lap steel.
Yeah.
Kind of like a 2x4 restraint.
Sure. Yeah.
And I played on that for months, getting all the like finger beats.
Getting your fingers finger rolls right.
Yeah. And I played that thing 10 out of 12 hours. And eventually I wanted to step up, and he still has it. This is a really nice guitar now that I think about it. It's an old 50s Fender Stringmaster.
Oh, yeah.
D8, the console. And I tuned that to like an open E.
Right.
And tried to get all the steel licks. And eventually I realized that pedals is what I need.
That you can't bend those things. Like you know, no matter how hard I try, I cannot make that sound.
Yeah, for the longest I was like, I don't need pedals.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need them. And I kind of did what the early players did. I tried to rig a coat hanger
Yeah.
down with
Yeah.
a little foot pedal. That didn't work.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But I guess at that time you were playing like the old Drifting Cowboys Hank Senior type steel.
yeah, like a.
I mean, that was the
Hey, good
sounds you
looking.
were getting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's cool
No,
too.
I love it. But all through, this is a very big part of my music influence career. The Swananoa Gathering.
Yeah.
I went to that since my mom was pregnant with me.
Well, that's a long time. Yeah,
I've
you've been
there.
going. Yeah,
I've been there.
your whole life.
Yeah, 15 out of 16 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always grew up around that old time bluegrass. I guess that's where I got the knack for speed from. And we knew at the honky tonk there, Tom Pittman
Yeah.
played steel,
Who has the show on WNCW on Friday nights?
and my mom listened
Cosmic.
to the show.
Yeah.
And she came up to him. I was either, I don't know, 10, 11, maybe 12. I can't remember. But she came up to him and was like, I'm a big fan of your show, and my son likes steel guitar. And they got to talking and, like, traded emails and stuff. And that's when I kind of had a anchor, because I didn't really know where to.
Right. Well, you know where to turn, did you?
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know where to get a steel.
Right.
And so he started talking, and eventually I was talking to my mom, and I was like, they're expensive, but I think I'm really serious about it. And so she just emailed him just to ask, like, for advice on one. And he said he had it was an early 70s Showbud.
Yeah. Showbud's great. They're great steels. I mean, no doubt. That's a great starting place.
Mm-hmm. I'm really lucky he had that. And he gave me an amazing deal on it. But he said, come down and try it out, and I'll sell it to you. And I sat down, and in the first 10 minutes, I'd played Rainy Day Woman by Waylon, and he was just like, you're the only person I'd want to have this, because I can tell you have it. And so I got that from him, and he was really proud of my progression, because since the day I got it, I've played every single day.
Oh yeah, that's what you got to do. I mean that's the formula for success is hard work.
Yeah.
Harder I work, luckier I get.
Yeah, because people think I just popped out and could play, and no, I worked for it.
Right.
But I played that one for about 6-7 months.
And I guess that was just a total E9.
Yeah, it was a single neck.
Yeah.
3 pedals, 4 knees, and I got pretty far on that. And eventually, I was like, I want the real deal.
Yeah, I want the full deal.
So I asked Tom again, and I was like, if you happen to know anybody with a D10 or a double 10 or have any advice, and of course, Tom, being the great guy he is, said he had he said either a 66 or a 67. I found out it's a 67, but push-pull Emmons,
Yeah.
a bolt-on.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it at the time, but it's one of the rarest steel guitars.
Yeah, it is.
And I went to check it out, and the instant I sat down at it,
You knew.
Yeah, this is it. And he gave me a great deal on it too. It wasn't cheap.
Oh, I know they're not cheap. I mean,
but he gave me a great deal on that too. And I was sitting there picking, and I turned, and he was just standing there shaking his head. And he said, son, I've been playing 40 years, and I'm not even close to that.
Well, I could tell that from what I heard in here this morning. So I guess you had to pair that up with an amp too, right?
Yeah.
People do not understand that guitars can run through a bazillion amps and sound great. The pedal steel is kind of, I wouldn't say limited, but it's established a sound based on certain amps.
Yeah.
And more so than the steel itself. It amp becomes every bit as important as your steel.
Yeah, because you can have a $10,000 1965 Emmons, but
Sure.
if you're playing it through a $50 amp,
Yeah, exactly. It's not the same.
that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
And
So I guess you had to find you the amp.
yeah,
Might as well tell everybody what it is so they'll know, you know.
yeah, and I got this recently. Well, because my first amp, I was borrowing because Tom told me, he was like, I can tell you like the early 60s, 70s stuff. He was like, if you want that sound, you're gonna need a tube amp.
Yep.
And so, Stan Anthony, again, I love that man.
Right.
He had a 65 reissue twin,
Yeah.
the Blackface.
Yeah, it's a great amp.
And it's amazing. And I played that with the first Showbud and the Emmons for probably about 8 months. And eventually I was like, I need my own, and I want an original one. So I was looking on Facebook Marketplace, and her name was Gloria Davy, and her father had passed, and this amp had just been sitting because it was his music room amp, and I'm so thankful I got that because it's a 73 twin that only has about 1,000 hours on it.
Yeah, probably.
So I got it checked by the tech in Asheville, John.
Yeah.
And he said it
looks perfect. I mean,
he's like, every single part in that is working fine.
Well, it's yeah, I mean, it looks like it's brand new.
Yeah.
I mean, when you rolled it in, I was thinking, oh, this is a reissue, you know.
Yeah.
But it's not.
No.
Of course, that didn't come cheap either, I'm sure.
Well, it was $800.
Well, that's a deal, I think.
Yeah, and then I had, it had the original tubes in it.
Right.
And just for preventative maintenance, I changed all the tubes.
Yeah.
And so now I probably have like 1,100, 1,200.
Yeah, that's still, I mean.
Which, yeah, that's.
You know, you're still ahead of the game.
Yeah.
So
Twins will outlast any human.
Twins are great. They're great guitar amps too, though. I mean, they're just a great amp.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever need another one, really.
No, which means you'll probably own 6 or 7, but still, you know. I mean, I see that. I'm taking it that we're going this way for a career.
Yeah, that's my plan.
Yeah.
Because I like other stuff, but music has always been a huge part of me. I mean, I notice it in everything. I hear a jackhammer, and I can tell what BPM that thing's going.
That's called perfect pitch, folks, in case you don't know. Okay, let's put this other part here that's kind of strange. Your whole deal's kind of strange. You realize that?
Yeah.
I mean, you're a 16-year-old phenomenal pedal steel player.
Thank you.
But you play in a ukulele band.
Yeah.
I mean, how strange is that?
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't happen. I mean, that just doesn't happen in life.
No.
A ukulele orchestra that has a pedal steel player.
Yeah, that's about as bizarre as you can get.
So how did that come about?
So, I remember when I was, 10 or 11, or even before, when I was like 7 or 8 in Albemarle, my mom had a ukulele that she messed around with. And when I was taking lessons here, they were starting some ukulele club.
Right, yeah, I think they were at one time.
What's his name? David? I can't remember his last
Right.
name.
There was a ukulele club starting.
Yeah, but they were, so when I would go to lessons, she would do that, and some days she just did that, and I didn't have lessons, but they started that, and eventually it grew, and so they named it the Dancing Fleas.
Right. So instead of a club, it became a band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they played with that a while, and the more serious I got, it was around January either of 19 or 20. They asked me to come play guitar on some Don Gibson songs. And then at the little Carolina Mall building uptown, they had a little tiny practice space up there. So trying to fit in there with a twin reverb was
I'm sure it was. Yeah.
not easy and way too loud.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Plus, I mean, you have to turn that thing up. I mean, you want that tone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, twin on 3 ain't going
to. No. I mean, it's not a twin when it's on 3.
Yeah. You got to get it to at least 5.
At least 5.
But I played those songs on a Telecaster, and that's my favorite guitar of all time.
Yeah, I love Telecasters.
And I played that a while, and then I really enjoyed it. So I was like, I'll play with y'all.
Right.
And because my father and my mom are in that, and Jason Lomberg and Galaxy Lomberg.
Yeah, I know him.
And so I played with that a while, and then I got the steel, and obviously I was going to incorporate
You just
that.
bring that on in. Hey, I don't know if y'all want a pedal steel on this, but you're going to get it if you want a guitar on the other stuff, right?
Yeah, because
kind of blackmail.
So for a while I was switching between them.
Right.
Because the idea was kind of the Hawaiian steel guitar.
Yeah.
And so for a while I have a tele plugged into the normal channel and steel plugged into the other. And that got quite difficult.
Yeah.
To stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down.
Yeah.
And obviously when I sit back down, that thing would be all out of tune.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, I'm sure it would be.
But eventually I was like, it's too difficult. I'm just gonna play steel. And so then that's when I really hit the road running.
Right.
I started learning all the Buddy Emmons, all the Lloyd Green.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was a certain period of months, about 4 months ago, that I especially found Weldon Myrick.
Yeah.
He is my hero. And that is when I just kind of felt something click, because I'd just be sitting down and all of a sudden something would just come to me. And sometimes I'll be working on something and I can't figure it out.
Right.
And I wake up the next day, and in the morning, in my brain,
it worked it out.
That's how it's done.
Oh, yeah, let's back this up. Now, you haven't had a pedal steel teacher.
Nope.
You just taught yourself to do this.
Yeah, I credit all the all-time greats.
Just listening to them.
Yeah. Something about it.
You just sit there and pick out what they do.
Yeah. I'll just play a Johnny Paycheck record.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty. Oh, you might as well tell people because they don't know. How many strings are we working with?
So if you have a D10, in total you have 20 strings,
right?
8 pedals, and about 4 knee levers.
And tell them what the knee levers and the pedals do.
So your pedals are they can either raise your pitches or lower your pitches, and it can get quite confusing.
Yeah.
Remember all of them.
Yeah.
And
the knee levers, what do they do?
The same
thing. But you can't use. I mean, that's why you have knee levers, because you don't have enough feet.
Yeah. It's hard to do 2 feet.
I mean, it takes some coordination to do it.
Oh yeah.
Plus you're working 3 fingers instead of 1 pick. Yeah. I mean, you kind of got yourself a complicated mess there, Silas. How do you figure that stuff out?
It's a full body work.
Yeah. Yeah, really.
But yeah. So the traditional steel that most people recognize and hear was called the Nashville E9 tuning.
Right.
And it's based off of an E chord.
Right.
So the tuning's B, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, B, E, G sharp, D sharp, F sharp. So, but you have your main open.
Right.
Like major grips.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm most well versed on, and I don't that most people think of steel as a crying, weeping
Right? Yeah,
instrument,
they do.
and I like it when it's mad.
There you go. That's my kind of pedal steel too. I like it when it's mad. Yeah, that's a good way. I hadn't even thought about that. That's a great way to put it.
Especially, I forget his name. Something Mayhew, the owner producer at Little Darling Records.
Mm-hmm.
Back in those days, Johnny Paycheck and
Mm-hmm.
Lloyd Green on steel,
Mm-hmm.
and he cut Lloyd loose on all those.
Yeah.
Because it was, he said, in the studio, their amps were like on 9.
I'm sure they were. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were.
And
I mean, you can tell by the tone that that's not a sit at 5.
yeah,
Yeah.
And Johnny Paycheck he worded it great. He said, on those records, I sang with attitude, and Lloyd played with it.
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, I think he's right about that.
Yeah, and Mayhew,
Johnny had an attitude, no doubt.
yeah, and he said on those Little Darling, the owner said, because after they would cut them, when they mixed it, the bass was great, treble was great, but after they cut all the low end out,
Right.
because he said on those records, when they come on the radio, they want to jump out and grab you by the throat.
True.
And that's what it grabbed me by the throat hard, because having that little bit of breakup and steel sound.
Sure. I mean, that's the and that's what makes it special, you know, and that's what takes it away from being the weepy cry.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that adds balls to it. I mean, you know.
Because you think, you hear George Jones all weeping, and then Johnny comes in.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. And then that trends, you know, I've noticed too that along the way, you've listened to the California players.
Yeah, Ralph Mooney.
Yeah.
He got me good.
You know, and there's, you know, you got a lot of influences there, and you're taking bits and pieces from all of them, right?
Yeah, because, I mean, every steel player can have a bad habit of emulating his favorite guy.
Well, sure. I mean, you got to. I mean, you know, you got to steal from the best. I mean, you know, I mean, nothing anymore is original, so you got to go ahead and make it, own it on your own. You know.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, because I always, and one thing I think is I don't like to confine steel to itself, if that makes any sense. To where if I hear a trombone part that I like, I'll try
it on the steel. Sure, that's just being a musician, man.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's what is people. I just have always thought that it's such a broad instrument.
It is. I mean, you can rock as hard as, you know. Well, you can even branch out like Robert Randolph. You know, I mean that's a gospel slide going like rock and roll, man. I mean, dude. You know, I mean, so it's a instrument that is wide open.
Yeah.
I mean, I always hear that, you know, different instruments. Oh man, you can play. People always say you can play mandolin on anything. You can. It'll sound like a mandolin.
Yeah.
But I mean, a pedal steel, man, there's just, it's a wide open world.
Yeah, because there's a lot of songs that you think that's a guitar part, because you can make it sound just like a guitar.
Plus, there's nothing better than watching a guitar player work off a pedal steel player and a pedal steel player work off a guitar player. I mean, that's just, you know, if you're one of the two, or even if you're the bass player in that band or a drummer, it's fun, man. I mean, that makes the music go.
Yeah.
You know?
And so the thing that pedal steel to me is such an emotional instrument, and it can convey every emotion to me.
Yeah, you can.
Because if you want to curl up in a hole and cry, it's great at that.
Right.
Or if you want to punch a hole through a window.
Yeah, it is. I agree. Yeah, I totally agree.
You know, and that's if I'm feeling, you know, some type of way.
Right.
I just sit at my steel. and play however.
And I guess the song directs where you're going with how you're going to play it too.
Yeah.
I mean, talk to them too, because people don't realize too that are you locked into your picks?
Yeah.
I mean, you have a thumb pick that you just
Yeah.
anything else won't work, right? I mean, you have your favorites.
Yeah, because that white Dunlop, I can't. I've tried other picks.
Yeah, I like a blue one for guitar.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just funny the way. So all right, I know y'all don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know. Also, how about your bars? You use the same one?
I have two. My main one, Tom gave me when I got my first deal.
The round bullet one.
Yeah, I think it's a BJS brand.
Yeah, might be.
And another one I have is a Dunlop that I can't remember where I got that, but I think
Is it square or more square?
No, it's a bullet bar.
It's a bullet too.
And that's my favorite thing. And the Dunlop's a little bit smaller to get that more West Coasty.
Yeah,
sound.
yeah.
And one thing I'm real fond of that it's on a lot of records, the Osborne Brothers.
Yeah.
Bluegrass.
Yeah.
It's a sitar bar on
Okay.
steel.
Really?
Yeah, it's a interesting sound.
Yeah, I bet it is.
And the thing is, sitar bars can be pretty expensive.
Yeah.
And so I've always been creative, so I use a wood block that's flat, and it gets the same sound.
That's okay. I've been known to play slide with a beer bottle too. So I mean, yeah. So
That's one thing I've loved is because I always do that. I'll be up at 1 a.m. looking around the house trying to find something to use as a bar that's not standard.
yeah. Oh yeah. I've used screwdrivers. Because it's great tricks. I mean,
Yeah.
As a stage deal, I've used all kind of things. I've even gotten stuff out of the audience to do it before, like belt buckle. You know, I mean, it's just tricks, but it's part of a cool thing to go with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the great, wonderful steel player that played on so many records I couldn't even tell you how many. Pete Drake.
Yeah, Pete Drake. Yeah.
He was a phenomenal musician too, but Weldon Myrick has a cool story. When Weldon auditioned for Bill Anderson's band,
Mm-hmm.
Bill said, "Weldon, I got to ask you one question. Can you play with a comb?" Because Pete had started using that on some records to get a more flat sound, and that's. I use that a lot as inspiration because
Right.
Pete would always try something new.
Something new. Yeah.
And I always think, yeah, everybody uses a bullet bar, but
Right.
what if I use a 5-gallon bucket?
Sure. I mean, no, really. That's how innovation starts. I mean, that's what separates people.
Yeah.
That's why you get a job and somebody else don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes down to that. I mean, something like that. Call it a gimmick, call it a trick, but as a fiddler, I learned every fiddling trick that you could learn to do just because it's entertaining. And that's one of the things I guess you've learned about being with the Fleas is that they are, I wouldn't say they're entertainment first, but entertainment is a large portion of what they do.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to I mean, that's their main thing is their entertainment.
That's the goal with it.
Yeah.
You know? You want to be good, but
Whereas I just want to rock your socks off or something like that, you know. But then, but I mean, you know, it's the, but the entertainment value is there's a lot to be said about it. You know, look at SIlas; he's playing with comb. You know,
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's got his car keys out. You know, you think you're bad? Look, he's playing with his car keys. You know, I mean, you know, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just always. I guess that's kind of going to be my goal because if I want a career, I mean, everybody wants to be the best, but that's not what I'm going for, really.
Right.
I'm going for finding something, because a lot of stuff has been played on steel, not all of it.
Well, I mean, it's the same way with guitar and, you know, every other instrument. Yeah, sure.
There's
But
always
it's a
something.
new approach, a new, you know. I mean, it's good that you think that because there are a lot of people that, you know, well, it's all been played. You know, it's all been played. There's, you know, there's not an infinite number of notes, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, but you know.
Yeah, there's only 12 notes.
Exactly.
12 million ways.
Yeah, to play those. Yeah. I mean, so it's a pretty amazing story you have. So you're going to do this for a living, right?
Thank you. Yeah, that's my.
That's what you're going to do is. I think that you'll find some success at it. I mean, you're gearing yourself in the right direction.
Yeah, and I've always been super fond of the history of music.
Yeah, that's cool
all
too.
Of it, you know.
Well, now, this is always big, and apparently you have it. It looks like your parents support your dream.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
they really do. I'm really thankful for them. But
yeah,
they've.
I mean, that can be all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the people that I've found that's been successful, their parents, they had parental support,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, it's not like, when you're going to get a real job, you know.
Yeah.
Are you sure you can? You really want to do that for? You know, it's like, no, go for it. You know.
Yeah.
That's what you love. Go for it, man.
Because if your mama shoots you down,
Yeah.
you're not gonna want to do it.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, you're young and you think, well, I can do this, and then when people start putting doubts in your head, you know, it's like, just let it play out. You know.
Yeah.
You can always go. You can always go do something else.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, I just saw Sturgill Simpson said he's going to go do some of that stuff because he just ruptured his vocal cords.
Yeah. That really.
Yeah, that's
bummed me out.
That bummed me out too. I saw that, man. I was kind of depressed, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, it's I think you have to do it while it's here.
Yeah, that's because I mean, I'm definitely gonna finish school. Dropping out is never a good idea, but that I always take a Waylon quote because he's really important to me. Because school's always an option.
Yeah.
You know, he went back when he was in his 50s and got his.
I think
DD.
you have to pick up whatever's there. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't sound like. You need to be very talented if you're thinking taking that advice. But I'm sitting here with the guy that I think is talented enough to do that.
Yeah, because
You
if you can play a G scale on a guitar, don't think you're gonna drop out of school.
No, no. But you know, there's people do it. You know, and it works out.
Mm-hmm. Look at the draw, I guess.
It's all about I mean, with everything, there's a little bit of luck involved. I mean.
Yeah.
Anybody that thinks they can get there just with their talent alone, sometimes you just have to have some luck, you know.
Yeah.
But then what they say, you know, the harder you work, the luckier you get. So.
Yeah, because I mean.
All right. Well, one last thing before we go, you available to play with anybody other than the Fleas?
All the time.
Okay. Well, all right. You hear that? The people that are out there, they're in bands, because I have a lot of musicians listening. Yeah. Silas says he's available to play.
Yeah, and it's not just steel. Guitar, bass.
Oh, okay. He said that too.
Yeah.
And he said that he don't care what kind of music it is.
Nope. I'll play anything.
There you go. That's how you get there.
Go from B.B. King to George Jones to Michael Jackson.
There you go. That works. I mean, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Well, Silas, I appreciate you taking the time to come by here and do this.
Yeah, thank you, man.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you.